What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how to build an entire dApp from end to end. So that means we're going to write the smart contracts, we're going to write the front end, and we're going to write the communication between the two. Let's get started. So we're going to start at Atlas. We're going to write our smart contracts here. So we can create a project. We're going to be creating a decentralized Twitter today. So we're dropped into the editor. We could write the contract from scratch, but Atlas has a pretty powerful AI, so I'm going to use it to actually write the contract for us. Amazing, so we have the code. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into the editor. So our contract's looking good. We just deployed it to the virtual blockchain to make sure it's looking good. But before we get over to the front end, we actually have to deploy this to a real live network so that we can actually interact with it from a dApp. So we can go ahead and go to the network selector, click on view all networks, and we can deploy to any chain that we want to. But I'm gonna go ahead and click ZK Sync for now. Great, so we just deployed this to ZK Sync, so now we have a live contract that we can interact with. But how do we actually turn this into a full dApp? We're going to need the front end as well as the communication layer to talk to our smart contracts, which I like to think of as the back end for a dApp. Luckily, we have a very useful utility called create-atlas-dapp, and so we can head over to the CLI and we can set that up right now. So I'm just going to type npx create-atlas-dapp --zk sync. And this is going to ask me to link to my Atlas account so that we can pull in all the contracts. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Great, really fast. We can head back to the terminal, select the dTwitter project we're in, and I'm going to go ahead and change the directory into it. And now we just have to install dependencies. This should take about a minute. Great, we have the dependencies. Now we can actually run the app. So I use yarn dev, and now the project should be available on localhost. Great, so this is our starting dApp template. We can see we have the decentralized Twitter contract here, which is what we just deployed, and all of the functions on it. And we also have this very useful connect wallet button, so we can connect any wallet that we want. So this is a good starting point, but we want to turn this into a basic Twitter UI. So I'm thinking we'll have an input field, we'll have a button where we can click to write a tweet, and then we'll have a feed of all the tweets that have ever existed. So let's jump into our front end so we can do that. I just opened up the repo and we can check out the source directory to see what's actually going on here. We have under pages, index TSX, and this demo.dap component is where everything's happening. So this is what we'll be editing. And very importantly, under components, generated components, this is the list of all contracts that you're going to link to your front end. So if you had more contracts, more would be listed here than just decentralized Twitter. And under decentralized Twitter is every single function that showed up on the UI you saw. So for example, I can open up write tweet here. And inside write tweet is this hook right here, very conveniently, where I can copy and paste this in any component. And this is how I actually call the write tweet function from my front end. So this, all I need is this one hook, and I can call it. And the same thing actually exists for get all tweets. So I can open this up, and we're going to be using this hook to load all the tweets into the UI. Cool. So let's actually make the UI now that we're talking about. Let's go into demo.dap. I'm going to go ahead and delete this stuff in here. I don't think this is needed. And we're going to go ahead and create the input and button. Great, so this is a very basic just input and button field. We can go ahead and now get the hook from the write tweet so we can call the function. So I'm just going to copy over this hook and paste it into our demo.dap. Have to import it. And now I can just go ahead and call write. We do have to change this function arguments though. We're going to make this into the input value that we're passing into this input field. So let's check out what our dApp looks like. Great, so we have this input field and a tweet button. This is pretty cool. I can type something here. And when I press the button, it should ask me to confirm a transaction. Cool. So I just sent a tweet. That was pretty easy. But obviously I don't see any tweets here. So we want to add now the feed of all the tweets that show up so that I can see all the tweets of all the users. So let's go back to our front end. And now we're just going to be using the get all tweets hook. So this is going to actually let us load in all the tweets for our UI. So I'm just going to copy and paste this over. It looks like we have some naming conflicts here, so because we're using the same values from this hook. So I'm just going to call this all tweets. And then we just need to import this as well. And we actually don't need any function arguments here because this is just a read. Cool, so the last thing we need to do is just have a mapping that's going to show all of the tweets. So we saw the AI just basically helped us. We're just going to map over all the tweets, and I'm just going to display them in a flex view. Cool, so let's see if this shows up. Cool, so we can see our tweet from earlier is showing up here, and I'm going to add another tweet. And it shows up. That's really cool. And I'm just going to do another tweet just for giggles. Believe it or not, we're already done. Now we have a full DApp built out. We have this list of all tweets that exist, and we have an input field where we can enter a new tweet, and then when we press this tweet button, it actually writes a tweet and interacts with the blockchain, interacts with the contract deployed to a real network, and shows up now in our list of tweets. So that's pretty cool. We did that in just a couple of minutes.